Hello, V Squad, and welcome back to another episode of VGIRLTV. Hello guys, I am back and I am back with another video. So I don't even really know how I'm gonna go into this video right now, but I'm just gonna let you guys know what the deal is. So I got a text message early this morning from a friend, and like a lot of my friends, we always have like amazing conversations. People like to hear what I have to say. Sometimes it could be a little bit overwhelming, but for the most part, I love engaging in intellectual conversations. Again, intellectual conversations, okay? I respect people's opinions. I respect what people have to say, even though I may not agree, or even if I don't agree with what someone else has to say. I think it's important for us to be able to understand people's perspectives in life, have an open conversation about it, and then come to some medium ground. But this is a conversation that, to me, it needs to be had. A lot of you guys, well, for those of you who do know me, I am a lover of music. I love my choice of music. My favorite choice of music is usually reggae and dancehall, and then it goes into soca music, and then so on and so on and so on. But I love music, period. A part of me and some of the things that I do, one of the avenues that I was a part of was I was part of a podcast called the Reggae Talk podcast. And the podcast actually entailed my best friend, who's also known as Reggae Music Forever, and AKA For Real. So they started the podcast, and then I came on the podcast as a guest, and then I ended up having a permanent slot on the podcast. I'm still part of the family, although I have not made any appearances on the podcast, on that particular podcast, in quite some time, obviously, because I'm not in the States right now. And I have so many things going on aside on different platforms, like my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my businesses. So many things has going on. And on that podcast, we usually discuss what's going on in the dancehall community. And a lot of it was about new music, reggae music, well, yeah, pretty much reggae music. And one of the things that I appreciated about being on the podcast was the open discussion. But one thing that I will say, being a part of the podcast, I did not always feel like I had a place. And I never really discussed this with my best friend, but looking back at hindsight, I never really felt like I really had a place, because everyone that was part of the podcast was from Jamaica. And I felt like the listeners really didn't value what I had to say because I'm not Jamaican. With that being said, fast forward, although I say I'm not Jamaican, meaning I wasn't born in Jamaica, although I have Jamaican heritage and Jamaican lineage, I am Panamanian, right? So I never really felt like I was ever heard, or I was never really respected from the viewers, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Whatever. So fast forward to what I was saying about today, the conversation. I had a message from my friend, and he's like, listen, you know, I want you to listen to this. How do you feel? This is what he said. How do you feel about this interview where Buju had an interview on stage? Okay, so for those of you who don't know who Buju Banton is, first of all, if you know me, you know that Buju Banton is my favorite. Okay, he's one of my favorite dancehall artists. Okay, I grew up on Buju. I love Buju. So when I make this video, this is not me coming at Buju at all. So let's just make it very clear. I'm not coming at Buju at all. However, Buju has made comments, and I don't necessarily agree with the comments that he made. And I think a lot of the comments that he's made in regards to this topic where I'm going to get into has a lot to do with just being ignorant to the fact and just not knowing. I'm not saying that Buju Banton is ignorant. What I'm saying is when you don't really have the proper information and the proper knowledge, you tend to make comments, or you tend to have discussions or base your judgment based on what you think without actually looking up facts. I'm a big fact person. I like to look up facts before I make any comments. I love to come with receipts, okay? Okay, so I asked my friend, I'm like, what comment did he make or whatever? So basically, I actually am going to play the video clip so you guys can actually listen to it, and I'm actually going to watch it with you guys again, so you can see for yourself what he said.
West Africa, most of us came from that side of Africa.
Yes. But me I tell you, say, what you see going on over there now is great.
Yes.
Because it is the musical bridge is what we're gonna walk on.
Okay.
And that bridge is being made as we speak. In 1999, my first trip in Africa, you know, I spent most of my time educating people about dancehall. Just on the streets of the universities and places, like telling them, talking to them, telling them about the transition from that to reggae music and the transition, you know what I mean? And now I see the youth, I'm singing a thing, I'm making a thing that is undeniable. Undeniably, our influence is in it.
Yes.
It can be felt.
Afrobeat.
Yes. And they pay respect. And I like the reggaeton people who teach reggae music from we, I'm talking about reggaeton. And would have never been a bridge to come here and invite us to work with them in no capacity. It's just one click. Yeah. Because we saw it coming from the days of El General, you know, when them do little Lenny, pum pum nani nani, in a Spanish. Everybody laugh. But it went on till we see them have their own satellite, and look at we still down here.
Numbers are humongous. There are numbers out there.
We know there are gonna be culture vultures, but we have to protect and keep this strong. You know?
As the original.
Yes.
Okay, so there's many things that I found wrong with what was said. Yes, reggae music was birthed out of Jamaica, but if we really get into the nitty-gritty, all music comes from Africa. So I did an interview, we had a conversation on the same podcast that I was talking about, and that was a whole discussion where they didn't agree with me saying that Afrobeats did not come from reggae music. I feel like Afrobeats came from Africa, their drums, their rhythm, they infused it with whatever. That doesn't really have anything to do with the video at this point. That's just a whole nother topic. But what stood out to me throughout this whole entire interview, and this particular section of the interview, was that he stated that reggaeton, sorry, I don't like to say reggaeton, that we are culture vultures. So this is the thing. I don't know if Buju is aware that reggaeton actually came from Panama, and that El General is from Panama, and that El General is black. I'm not sure if he knows that. I don't know if he's just looking at it from a perspective of where reggaeton is right now, and who and what other countries has, you know, they took this word reggaeton and they took it and they ran with it. And I just want to read this to you guys because, okay, so for those of you who don't know who El General is and who is Buju Banton. Buju Banton is a dancehall artist. He is an amazing reggae artist. Amazing, okay? One of my favorite songs from Buju is Till Shiloh. I mean, my favorite album. And he's well respected, okay? For those of you who don't know who El General is a Panamanian reggaeton singer, and he was very popular in the 90s. He has so many songs One of them is Te Ves Buena. And he has a couple other songs. I don't want to get into the whole catalog or whatever. But for those of you who do not know, and I need for Jamaican people to understand this, okay? Jamaican presence in Panama is not something that is new, okay? Jamaican presence and Caribbean presence in Panama is something that has been happening or something that has been around for years, okay? So the fact that you would say we robbed or we are culture vultures, I felt like it's wrong because this music is music from the ghetto. A lot of people that were from the ghetto or come from the ghetto, they are from Caribbean descent. I'm not saying everybody, but they are from Caribbean areas. If I'm not mistaken, I think El General is from Rio Abajo, either Colón. I'm not sure, don't quote me. But either way, these two areas in Panama are heavily influenced by Caribbean culture. And why is that? And if I have to break down this, I'm not going to break it down. I have another video and I'll actually link the video so that you guys can learn the history of Panama and Caribbean culture, okay? Many of these areas, these were people that came from Jamaican parents, okay? So in other words, you're telling me that I'm not allowed, or if my mother is Jamaican or my ancestors are Jamaican, I'm not allowed to embrace that culture. I'm not understanding that. So then he goes on to say, oh, they did the reggae in Spanish, blah, 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 blah. So I actually looked up the definition of reggaeton just to see what would come up. And to my surprise, this is what came up. Reggaeton, also known, so it says reggaeton, also known as reggaeton, is a music style which originated in Puerto Rico during the late 1990s. It has evolved from dancehall and has been influenced by American hip-hop, Latin America, and Caribbean music. So that in itself, I find it to be crazy that they're saying that it evolved from Puerto Rico. That in itself is crazy, and that in itself, that's what's coming up in Google. That's why I can't even really fault Buju for even coming up with this analysis, because the information that is being projected in media is not even correct information. Reggaeton is from Panama. It derived from Panama. Unfortunately, Panama is a small country, and we may not have the voice to speak up like so many other countries, that are on a larger platform and have that backing where that they can put the music on the forefront. And those are the people who I would consider to be culture vultures, okay? The reason why this music is so influenced by Jamaican people is because a lot of them came from Jamaican families, Caribbean families. And again, I'm not going to go into the statistics and all that because I already did that in another video. But one thing I will say is that that was not fair. And then he went on to saying that, that we don't pay homage. And again, I don't know if he's referring to the Puerto Ricans, but I know for a fact here in Panama, we pay homage to dancehall artists, especially Buju Banton. The other day, I was actually on Buju Banton. Buju Banton is also a very large, a very notable reggae artist, Spanish reggae, if you want to call him reggaeton artist, and he's actually from Colón. If I have to repeat myself about what Colón is or where a lot of people come from Colón, I'm not going to do that. And on his page, he had a whole beautiful words that he had on his page in regards to Buju, okay? Over time, there has been many Jamaican artists and many artists that actually came to Panama. So to say that we are not paying homage or we're not putting any respect or giving respect or even working with the artists and not coming to Jamaica, that's not true, okay? I know another big DJ here in Panama who goes by the name of DJ Cheeky Dubs. He's always in Jamaica. Okay, he goes to Jamaica and he has so much respect for the culture. So, I was just really, really hurt by what was said and the narrative that was pushed. Now, if you want to direct that energy to Puerto Ricans, by all means, because you have all rights to say that. But when you start naming like Panamanian artists and saying things that aren't necessarily true, I take offense to that. I do take offense to that because I feel like we as Panamanians, we never really had the opportunity or even been able to have a platform to even speak our truths. You understand what I'm saying? Now we have an artist by the name of Setch. He's doing amazing things, but even still, I haven't heard him really speak up for the culture. Haven't really heard him speak up for the culture. I could be wrong. I'm just saying that I personally have not heard it. But let's be very clear, okay? Reggaeton is from Panama, originated in Panama. And yes, we love Jamaican culture. We have a whole subculture within a culture that a lot of people don't even know about. And that in itself annoys me. So it's like when I make a lot of these videos and I talk about how Black people we don't have any representation. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, and I know I said I wasn't gonna make another video like this, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. We do not have any representation. Look how, and the thing is, I'm like jumping all over the place because I'm just like, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about my people. I'm very passionate about being Black. I'm very passionate about Black Panamanians and what we have contributed to the world. Okay, right now El General, he's not really putting out music right now. He's not doing music. He actually doesn't even recognize the music anymore because he's Jehovah's Witness, and that's fine. Okay, everybody has their own particular path that they choose to go down. But one thing I will say is that I'm going to go hard for my culture all the time, regardless of how anybody feels. I'm always gonna go hard for my culture. That's just the way I am. My promise is, and one of the reasons why I even decided to even go on with this channel or to even continue on with this channel is because I realized that there was a lack of representation for Panamanian Americans or just Panamanian people when it comes to media, when it comes to music. There's a lack of representation for it, and it just seems like people really, they try to like push us off. They try to push us off into a corner and act like we don't exist, okay? I urge everyone, if you ever had a chance to come to Panama, if you ever visit Panama, I urge you guys to experience Afro-Panamanian culture. I urge you guys to experience Panamanian Caribbean culture. It is rich. I also feel like whenever it comes to Panamanian culture, we are always getting robbed from our just dues. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a sneaker. Nike made a sneaker, and the sneaker had a mola print on it. And they had the nerves to say that this was from Puerto Rico. And it's like, no. And I'm so proud of my people, my Panamanian people, for standing up for what was right and getting those sneakers pulled off the shelf. Because again, we are constantly being overlooked. And why are we being constantly overlooked? Because we don't have proper representation in the United States. We don't have proper representation globally, okay? And the Panamanians that do make it, you know, they aren't really so proud, or they don't really represent the culture like they should, like how I feel like they should. One thing that I do appreciate in Jamaican culture is that Jamaican people are very, very, very proud of where they come from. I'm not saying that Panamanian people are not proud, but Jamaicans go hard, okay? A Jamaican person will go become an actress or actor, and that person, he or she, will always pay homage to where they come from. And I would want that same energy from us. Like, there's so many Panamanian people that have contributed things to society, okay? Amazing things they have contributed to society, but yet we don't know about it. Why is that? Why is that? Why? No. And like I said, I don't know if I'm overreacting, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are, but I'm really offended by what Buju said. It's hurtful because the information that's put out there is not true at all, okay? I have been to numerous, Mavado has been to Panama. I went to the Mavado concert here. Shaka Demus was here. Sizzla was here. So many Jamaican artists and so many reggae artists has come to Panama. Now, if it's a situation where they're saying, okay, well, you never invited Buju to come over, have you ever thought that maybe we can't afford Buju? Okay, I know people and promoters who try to get him to come over, but they can't afford it. Okay, we just cannot afford it. We don't have, and now with the COVID situation is even, worse. Maybe in the future, Buju will, if Buju ever comes to Panama, I'll be the first person in line. Okay, I'll be the first person in the front, okay, supporting him. But I just feel like we need to be responsible with our words. I think that before we are able, or before we say certain things, we need to have factual information. We need to do our researches before we put out that narrative out into the universe. Okay, let's get properly educated. This is why I'm here. I'm going to continuously use my platform to promote Panamanian culture, Caribbean Panamanian culture, Black Panamanian culture. That is what I'm going to do. I'm always going to do that. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Leave it in the comment section. If you are a reggaeton lover, did you even know that reggaeton was founded here in Panama by one of the founding fathers, who is El General? Let me know what your thoughts are. Or did you think that the Puerto Ricans were the one who were the founders or the creators of it? Let me know what you guys think. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, peace and love.